Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is James Slim Overton, and this is the SlimNation AM. Every morning, every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 8 a.m. And I always like to start out by, let me get it positioned right on the camera, just saying good morning. This is my favorite cup in the house. Like I always say, Dad and Papa have a daughter and a granddaughter. And I like to say good morning to Jamie first, and Julie, and Philip. And of course, to my lovely wife, Renee. We'll be celebrating 41 years next month in June. So good morning to her. And we'll talk about that next month. But anyway, good morning, everybody, and good morning, Roberta Carter. How you doing this morning? And I'm going to talk a little bit about our neighborhoods, businesses in our neighborhood. But before I do that, I want to sort of say something about make sure people get out and vote, especially during these primaries. There are primaries all over the country, and Democratic and Republican primaries. So it's important that you get out and you can start voting early, at least here in Virginia, downtown at the registered office. But know that they've been redistricted. The 18 district has been redistricted. And so you might want to check, especially if you live in the Churchland area, certain parts of the Churchland area, you might want to check as far as the Democratic primary, who represents you. Because in the most part in Portsmouth and Chesapeake, it's going to be L. Louise Lucas. But some parts of Churchland and Chesapeake, it's going to be another candidate. So you might want to check. You can call down the assessor's office before you come down. If you're coming down specifically to vote and you live in Churchland area, parts of Churchland area, just make sure you call down there first and check and make sure that that you'll be voting. If you want to vote for Senator Lucas or Lionel Sproul, that you're able to do that you're in the 18th district. It's been divided into the 17th district also, which, like I said, parts, I think, people still be voting at Grove Baptist Church. That was part of the 18th district. I think it's part of the 17th district now. So check on that and correct me if I'm wrong. So if you used to voting at the Grove Baptist Church, as far as the 18th district, I think it's now the 17th district, and you might want to check on that to make sure before you come down to Portsmouth, if you're coming specifically to vote early. So, but make sure wherever you vote that you vote, and make sure you are educated on the people who are running, and that you make a decision based on, especially with this primary, because you have two candidates that about 30 years in office, but you want to know, check both of their records out, and check both of them out, so you'll be educated and figure out who you think will best represent you. So unfortunately, the way they did the reorganization of the district, it put Lionel Sproul, Senator Sproul, and Senator Lucas against each other. And I certainly believe that's by design, at least to get rid of one of them. Basically, if that didn't happen, the two of them still would remain in office or be elected separate from each other. But now this is pitting them against each other. Now you're seeing the what happens in a lot of campaigns, the nastiness is going to come up as opposed to focusing on the issues. So I would hope that both candidates, for the sake of the voters, stay close to the issues and what they have to offer, and talk about themselves and what advantage I would have for voting for either one of them. once you get into this name calling and this person did this, and because once one person starts, then it starts all over, and then we get lost as far as the issues are concerned. So that might come down to us, you as the voter, being able to figure out what the issues are and who will represent you best in the 18th district. Like I said before, it's unfortunate that those two veteran politicians have to go against each other, but you just have to look at the record and see who will serve you best, and make a educated decision once you go to the poll. But make sure you vote, period, and make sure you vote early. Primaries come in the summer, and a lot of things happen in the summer, a lot of vacations. So you don't want to get caught up on election day, which is the primary election day, which is the 20th of June, and you're out of town, or something comes up, or it slips your mind that day. I don't know how that could happen unless you live under a rock, because it would be, the information would be out there. But just in case, you never know what's going to happen. Vote early, but only vote early once you have taken the time to educate yourself, not unless you already know who would be best to represent you. Then go ahead and vote early, and put that behind you, and then vote again in November. A lot of people in the past have voted in primaries and thought that was it, and didn't go back and vote in November. And in some instances, it caused some very good candidates to lose, even though they won the primary. So just be politically or voter educated. You don't have to be up on all the particulars in different bills and things like that, but you can. Most of the information is out there in the language that the average person could understand and know how that would benefit them. So just make sure you just take that time and educate yourself. And the next thing I want to talk about is, it's always bothered me to a certain extent. I support businesses or people of all races who have businesses and have that entrepreneurship where they get out there and have the businesses. But it's always been like this, where a lot of the businesses, we have more businesses from non-Blacks in our Black community, or places where most of we exercise our buying power to non-Black businesses, mostly for the lack of, in some of those areas, we don't have Black people that have businesses. Say, for instance, the nail salons and things like that, and the hair. And I always thought it was crazy that we have to go to someone else other than us to buy our hair. But that's just the way it is, because, for a lot of reasons. I can remember it's always been non-whites in our communities, along with the individual candy ladies and other businesses that people had in the neighborhoods to make ends meet. But in our particular community, in this area of Douglas Park and Truxton, there was a Higgins Market, which a Jewish family had a business there. And it's kind of different from today, because the customer service they had and the many ways of paying for your groceries until payday that they offered. They were more business community friendly than anything else. And they even hired people from the community to work in there from time to time. As compared to the businesses now that, and you can't blame, certain businesses, Asian businesses, or other non-whites that will employ people of their own race, or members of their family. But, and that's one of the reasons a lot of the money we spend in the Black neighborhoods don't stay in our communities. We spend a lot of money that don't stay in our communities because of the other businesses that are there. And we're gonna get our nails done. We're gonna get that hair extension. We're gonna go in there and get those products for our beards and goatees because that's the only game in town. Now we have some Black businesses that try to when they get into that area, their prices, our complaint is that they're too high. And that's only because they're kind of shut out of the products market by, I'll just take the Asian market, they're shut out and they can't get the same kind of deals that maybe an Asian business might get. And so it reflects in higher prices. And so we go in there once to the Black business and we might buy something and then we go right back to the non-Black business because of the price and the products, how many products. It always amazed me when I've gone in there, the product, how much they have in there, inventory that's there. Even working at Nordstrom, it wasn't beneficial for them to have a lot of inventory that wasn't moving. So the business practice for them to keep track of that, and if it wasn't moving, you're not going to have inventory just set there. But if you go in one of those places, every corner, every space is full, is occupied by product, and it's always that way. And you wonder how can they maintain this business with that much inventory that's not moving out every day. It's not like you see crowds in there like on Christmas, packing in there. It's never a big crowds in there, but evidently enough people go in there to help them out and sustain their business. But that inventory, and that's only because what I mentioned earlier about the connections they might have, because a lot of those hair products or hair extensions or wigs are made in some of those Asian companies. So, I mean, countries, especially after, I think the United States banned supplies like that coming from China. So other places, Asian countries, have cornered the market per se of those things. So for the people that open those businesses, they take advantage of being able to order as much as they can at a price where they can order a lot of inventory, as opposed to a Black business person going into that field, the nails or the hair. So you see them everywhere in the Black community, even the Chinese food. And all of us, many of us love the Chinese food and we will frequent there. But have you ever seen even the little hole in the walls, I may call them, that be in the business where they spend a lot, don't spend much money on overhead. They just have the building and the food, the product. And you might even go in there and see a little heater, on the floor, blowing enough heat just to keep you from freezing, but they don't spend a lot of money on electricity. But you never see them go out of business. And for some reason, they stay in business, especially if they're in our neighborhood and they're in walking distance. We keep them going. Those places that be in our neighborhoods, how many people, non-whites, non-Blacks, you see going to those businesses and supporting them? No, it's usually just us. So, but here's the thing. I saw something with Black entrepreneurs launch thousands of new businesses every day, yet they are failing at a very high rate. And this is from 2021. Overall, 20% of small businesses generally fail within the first year. And it goes on to say about 50% make it, to the 5-year mark, and then they close. And 62%, which is high, survive to be a decade old, but then they fail. Imagine being 10 years in and still can't make it. But that's just the way it is. I guess it's a lot of reasons for that. We don't support. I think one of the reasons, and this is what I'm figuring out, that especially when you get those business loans, if a Black business gets the business loan, he might get enough to open the business and sustain, before he starts making money for about 6 months to a year, and or a longer time. But he just has a certain amount of time that his money is going to hold him up until his business can start making a profit. And sometimes it takes a little longer than that. Other businesses, non-Black businesses, might go and get a loan that might cover a lot more expenses for a lot longer period of time until they can start making a profit. And by the time they're making a profit, they've been there and turn out to be successful. So don't know what the answer is. One thing, we all guilty of maybe not supporting, and we hear in our community all the time, we have one issue with one Black business and we say, well, I'm not dealing with any Black people anymore. We generalize one bad experience we had with a Black business. It's like, I'm gonna give you one chance, and if I'm not satisfied, or if you make one mistake, I'm not dealing with you or any other Black business again. And then we go right to another non-business, rather than white non-Black business, rather than trying to find maybe another Black business in that same field that might treat you better. My thing about some of the non-Black businesses is some of them, and not all of them, some of them really give you great customer service, but some of them, you go in there and they could care if you came in there or not, but they know you're coming because they know they're one of the only games in town. Or if you go to another business, you find out that they own that too. It's a place out Victory Village that sells all those products. And it's one storefront, and about a few doors down, it's another storefront, but it's owned by the same people. We were in there one day and the wife asked for something and they didn't have it. And they said, wait a minute. She went out the store, went down to the other store and brought back what they didn't have in their store. So that told me that they're owned by the same people. So you might see 2 or 3 businesses and you think, well, I'm not going in there anymore, I'm gonna go over here. But you're actually going to the same person. But not complaining about it. I applaud any of the non-businesses for their entrepreneurship and the stick-to-itness. But when you come in our neighborhoods, or most of your business is Black, your customer service, I mean, don't take it for granted. Well, I guess you can, because a lot of times you're the only game in town. And most of the time when you have a long established Black business that closes, the next thing you know, someone else, a non-Black, when a Black business closes, a non-Black comes in and takes the mantle. And I just, I think when we encourage our students to go to school to get business degrees, you also should encourage them to either major or whatever the school offers in business development and how to develop a business. It's different areas in the business school of business where you can concentrate to make sure if you open a business and come out there, you have all those avenues covered. And another thing I would hope that sometimes when you come out and you could do a family business, a good example of a family business working together, been doing it for a long time, is the Mabry's here in the city, of course, and a long time ago, the Watts. But the Mabry's, a family business, and you can see when you go in there or you go to the food trucks or wherever they might be located, there's a generational thing. It's a generational thing. The people that if you've been around a long time, the people that you have been patronizing all these years as the Mabry family, knew them as the Mabry family. Now you're dealing with great-grandchildren that are still holding that business up. And that's one of the things. Hello, Dolores and Madonna and Michelle, and I spoke to Roberta. And just talking about Black businesses, non-Black businesses in our Black neighborhoods, and not putting them down, but some of the things, if you're going to be in our neighborhoods, please offer the best service. But also trying to encourage, especially our young students that are in business or coming out, to make sure you get all the different degrees or experience in business. So when you go into business, you have all those different avenues covered, and you won't fall into that category. Like I mentioned earlier, how 20% of the businesses that open fail in the first year, and at least half of them fail within 5 years. And, compared to other non-Black businesses that will be around for years and generations. I guess we have that problem. A lot of generational businesses, especially in the small business area, some of the kids don't want to take the ball and run with it. And sometimes once that generation retires or something like that, that's the end of the business, or not even another family wants to take it up. But that's the way it is. We have to, sort of think more on that. We have to think about keeping most of our money in our community. We spend a lot of money as a Black people everywhere we go, whatever event we go to, we spend a lot of money, a lot of times more than what we actually have. And I would say, I don't want to advocate, boycotting some businesses because that's their livelihood. But if you're not getting the treatment you think you deserve when you go into these places, and they're not going that extra mile for you because you spend a lot of money, don't patronize, don't go there, boycott them, and make sure you find a business that appreciates the money you spend with them. If you go in there and they're following you around like you coming in there to steal, and granted, a lot of people come in there to steal, but I think they make enough money to have enough security in there, and like most of those Asian places you go in, they have the pictures of the people who have stolen right on the front door, So I guess that's one way to deter people from stealing from them. But I don't know, maybe if the non-Black businesses, would kind of understand where some of the African American, where the Black people are coming from, that they would be a little bit more appreciative of our business. They just take it for granted. And they'll be in our communities and being a part of a civic league when we go to some of those businesses and ask for support, knowing that they get most of their business from our particular community. We have some that say that they don't do that. And they're the ones that we shouldn't support if they can't give something back to the community that supports them, sustains their livelihood. It's a service station that's been here a while now on a main highway, but most of the customers that they get, because they sit near the community, are people that walk there. And if they weren't getting a lot of support from the communities, why would they be selling the latest T-shirts and sneakers in there? I mean, they knew who they're selling that to. They know who gravitating towards that. They might catch some of those people buying gas that's coming off the main highway, but I bet you a lot of their livelihood is the beer, the cigarettes, and those T-shirts and tennis shoes, and you know, who sells that at a service station? I mean, and I've been there, and I talked about this before, where people have been a penny short, excuse me, and they want that penny. I guess that's good business sense, but that's not good. That's not being a good business partner in your community if you want to let somebody go for a penny. But recognize that when you go into these businesses and you're not getting the treatment, don't continue to go back, and give the Black businesses an opportunity, a chance. If something happens and you don't like them, let them know and give them a chance to improve. Don't say, leave the business and go and talk with your friends and tell them the experience you had and say, I'm never going back. At least give it a try. I've had that situation where I tried to give, and it wasn't a Black business, but it was the people that were working there that happened to be Black, and I tried to give them a chance. But you just, and then I wrote a comment. I wrote to the owner and let him know how I felt. So at least give that opportunity to the businesses before you label all Black businesses that you're not going to deal with a Black person anymore because you had one bad experience with them. So just wanted to talk a little bit. Was going to have a guest this morning, but they couldn't do it. So we will next Tuesday and Thursday. Hopefully we'll have guests up here because I like to engage with people on the Slim Nation here AM. So it keeps me from talking the whole half an hour or more. But if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do to keep this going. But look forward to the Slim Nation AM. I was having guests next Tuesday and Thursday, and every Tuesday and Thursday. And John Gantz, how you doing, Washington? I should have brought you on to talk about this topic, but you'll come back. Maybe we have you back next week because it's sure something to talk about as far as CNN giving Donald Trump. If I didn't watch it because I knew it was going to be a lot of clips from his interview, but one of the things that end on this thought that Donald Trump showed you on his CNN and was labeled as a Republican town hall, which they said, and a lot of people are saying, well, why are they giving Donald Trump all this free press? Well, they labeled it as they're going to continue to have town halls with Republican candidates, and they started with the front runner. But one thing that it showed you, and some of the people that support him are not going to change. They showed you Donald Trump has not changed one iota, not changed one bit since he's been president. If you get a chance, if you can stomach watching it, which I'm gonna try to watch it, but I think I'll be satisfied with the little clips that many shows are showing or will be showing today. You'll see he's just as bad, he's worse. He's still claiming that the election was stolen from him. He's still claiming that the insurrectionists were good people. He's still not answering questions. He still disrespected the female reporter who was questioning him, although she kind of held her own. She called him out on some of the lies he said, but his audience was mainly supporters cheering him on. And so he got exactly what he wanted to get. Answer no legitimate questions, spur out his claims of the election being stolen. And that's what he did, and that's what he got. But the main thing, like I said, he showed you exactly who he is or who he continues to be. Yeah, I didn't watch it either, Johnny, but I knew, yeah, you're right, internal line. Yeah, I knew I would see a lot of clips. So I might get a chance to get a chance to watch it. And you're right. The saddest part was the people applauding the craziness he was saying, but that audience had to be picked and be full of his supporters. There might have been a few in there. You heard some I don't know if it was boos, but some people that were making comments. But for the most part, it was his supporters clapping all that craziness he was saying. So and just like I started about voting and making sure you vote early throughout the country, we're having the primaries, and in some areas it might be actual elections where they have the elections in June. But for the most part, most of the states and cities and localities are having their primaries in June to pick and see who's going to be the candidate on the Democratic side and on the Republican side for whatever office in November. So either way, make sure you get out there and vote during the primary. It's important. The primaries are important because sometimes if we don't show up for primaries, people come out of that primary that don't deserve to compete in November. Just because we didn't go out and vote, enough people didn't vote. And it's imperative that we get out there and vote. And like I said in the beginning, if you all didn't hear it, make sure you're an educated voter. Make sure you at least know the basic facts or the basic benefits of each one of the candidates that are looking for your vote, what they have to offer down the road, their experience and their voting record. Often we forget about that. And if you know that, well, you're fine. Just go down there and make sure you register to vote. If you're unsure, look it up, talk to people you trust or people that you know are up on the political actions that are going on in your state, in your locality. And you must, as we talk about Donald Trump and the national scene, you must participate in the local scene, the city, the state, because that's where it all starts. And that's where you feel the immediate effects. Look what's going on in Florida. Everything that Governor DeSantis is doing is immediately affecting the Floridians. National laws and activities take a while to trickle down to the states and the localities, but those state and local decisions that are made affect you immediately. So you don't overlook and wait for national ticket to be on the ballot before you go and vote. Anything that's going on locally that you have an opportunity to participate and exercise your vote, which is your voice. And it can speak loud if it's in numbers. Make sure you get involved and don't be sitting around and see things happening in your state or in your locality that might affect your neighborhood and you didn't realize it until it was too late. So get involved, get involved. You don't have to be an expert on what's going on. Just go to your civic league meetings. You don't have to go to every meeting, but when you hear that candidates will be there, go to those meetings and make sure you get an up close and personal look and an opportunity to question that person. Even after the meetings, many of them hang around and you get a chance to talk about some of the issues that are most important to you. And the more you do that, I guarantee you, the more you want to be involved or the more knowledge you want about what's going on in your community. It's imperative, especially, it's always been important, but especially today, the political climate of today is something that's not going to be in the favor of Black people or people of color. You can see it coming, and they're not even hiding the fact now. It's in your face politics coming from the right. So If you somebody that disagrees with me, feel free to come on here and we'll have a conversation about it. I don't proclaim to be an expert in the politics, but I do have my opinions. And if you want to come on the show and challenge what I say, or you want to just express your ideologies that might be different from mine or might be more on the conservative side, please get in touch with me. My email is dallas4059@gmail.com. That's dallas4059@gmail.com. And send me an email and we'll figure out, we'll schedule you to come on the SlimNation AM one of the Tuesdays or Thursday mornings, and we'll let you talk about we'll let you give your position. One thing I won't allow is for you to come up here and tell lies. I will interrupt any lies that comes out your mouth. But as long as you speak truth from your side, even then I might challenge you if it's that your opinion. But like I said, all of us have opinions, and we can have that healthy debate. And I think it's good to have that kind of debate because we can more understand each other. And we still might not agree with each other because we have different ideas about it. But I think we can learn to respect that other person's position on different things. And I think we get along a lot better. And sometimes understanding somebody, it sets up for compromise. So come on, we appreciate you. And but we're going to have some guests next week, and we'll have to listen to me ramble on. But the person I had couldn't come on, but the show must go on. I can't commit to coming on every Tuesday and Thursday morning and not show up because I don't have a guest. And when I originally started, I wasn't thinking about guests. It was mostly to see what the people. Hey, Warren from Atlanta, how you doing? And Thomas Ford, how you doing this morning? I'm getting ready to end, but you can watch the show. I upload it to my SlimNation YouTube channel, and you can watch the show. But like I mentioned, and I say it often, every Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 8 p.m. And I'll be looking. I probably would like to have you, Thomas, and you, Warren, from Atlanta, get some perspective, because Warren, you and I talk a lot, often about different things that's going on here in your native Portsmouth, and you're still concerned what goes on. But I'll be interested to know how things are going there in the part of Atlanta you live in on the outskirts. And Thomas Ford, please come on, and I want to talk to you about your business and let people know what's going on there. But anyway, this is the SlimNation, and I'm going to sign off now, and until next Tuesday, the SlimNation AM. But make sure you also watch me along with my co-hosts, Leah J. Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman on excuse me again, on the Portsmouth Coffee Talk, which is every Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. on WGPL 1350 AM and Facebook Live, and every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. On Facebook Live. And so, tonight, well, just watch every Thursday. Don't want to date the show by talking about what we're going to have tonight. We want people to watch and make sure that they're watching for the first time. That's the way it works. But anyway, thanks again. We appreciate it. And be aware, be informed, and as always, be involved. And remember, your voice is your vote. Thanks a lot. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next time.